Welcome back to our community. Susie Thomas visiting with Ray Fate from Hammer and Nails. And we talked about some of the depressing homes you've walked into, but you're making a difference, Ray. So tell us about the turnaround and the happy endings.
Well, I could tell you, first of all, while we're there, we provide some of these folks with company. Just the fact that we're there is comforting to them. And we develop a relationship. And they'll write nice letters to us, and they'll call us when it's all done, and we'll swing by now and then, and it's a very nice feeling. But I do have to tell you one story, at least one story. There's a kid named Rick. He's 23 years old. Well, this was 40 years ago. He decides to marry his high school sweetheart. They get married. 8 weeks later, he has a massive stroke.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, she was about 17, just turned 18 at the time, so there's a 5-year age difference. He has had multiple strokes since then, and at least 4 brain surgeries that I'm aware of. He cannot walk. Cannot walk. Okay. So they're still married. It's 40 years later. He's 63 now.
Wow.
And he can verbalize, but he cannot speak. Mm-hmm. He has good movement in one arm and not in the other. He can move one leg pretty well, but not the other. And they live in this nice, tidy ranch-style home in Perry Township. He goes to physical therapy, and they like to go out and socialize. They'll go out to dinner. They'll go out to the night of the races for the KSC. Now this girl weighs about 105 pounds. Mm-hmm. She schleps him into the car. Mm-hmm. It's just unbelievable what they have to go through to get him in and out of a car. So they apparently applied for a wheelchair ramp through Hammer Nails some time ago, and somehow it didn't get, I don't know, we found it, we reached back out to them, we put the ramp in last fall. Now he can roll out of the house, down to the driveway, down to the sidewalk, all the way 2 blocks up to Tusk. He can go to a couple different places there without having to put himself at risk. He can get to the car by himself. This gal needs shoulder surgery. Mm-hmm. Desperately from schlepping him around. Mm-hmm. He's heavy, very heavy. He's very healthy in that respect. And their family at Christmas decided not to give each other gifts. They took up a collection for Hammer and Nails, and they did make a donation to us, which not required, not expected. But 40 years this guy has needed a wheelchair ramp. He has been housebound without it, and now he can go. The person that's the most pleased by these things is usually the caregiving spouse.
Yes.
Yeah, because the guy in the wheelchair, I mean, he hates the situation, but the only one that can make it work is the person who's not in a wheelchair.
Yes. Wow. So it was a gift to her as much as it was a gift to him.
And that would have been we got that ramp donated. Mm-hmm. We went up to a lawyer was selling a ramp on YouTube or whatever, or Craigslist. We go up and say, hey, we're going to buy this because used is much cheaper. And they're steel, they're aluminum, they last forever. And when he found out what we were going to do with it, he donated it. So all we had to do was provide the labor. And we were able to easily get the crews together and put that up in 2 days. And it's fantastic.
Wow, that's awesome. You know what? And just stepping aside from that, what an amazing picture of marriage and love you just painted there. I am ashamed of complaining if my husband doesn't put his silverware directly into the dishwasher. How dare I?
Isn't that something?
Oh my gosh.
Betty and Rick have been together. They dated when she was, very young, and he was in high school. They've known each other seemingly forever, married, and just weeks later, this thing befalls them. They have 2 children.
And that has been their entire reality for a
40-year
marriage. Yeah. What a beautiful example to the rest of us.
Yeah, she's a real spitfire, let me tell you. Let me tell you.
Wow.
She said, if I'd have known what a difference this would have made in our lives, I would have camped on your doorstep until somebody paid attention to what we needed to do.
That long without a ramp.
Yeah. And their medical expenses are so exorbitant. Yeah. They couldn't afford a ramp if they sold everything they owned. It wouldn't even come close. Mm. Can you imagine? I mean, he's had 4 brain surgeries.
No, can't.
What their medical bills look like. We didn't even ask to see that. We knew. I mean,
So that's when you're able to step in and literally change people's lives.
We did a ramp in Masson recently. A lady went in and she lost part of her leg surgically, came home, and we were just put the last piece on the ground when they pulled up from the hospital. And she was crying, and she was crying happy because she said, She's older. She's my age, mid-60s. She said, I could deal with losing my leg. What I couldn't deal with was not being able to get in my own house.
Yes.
So your refuge from the world is your home. Your place where you're secure and warm and comfortable is your home. And we finished, and it was a long ramp, let me tell you, 60-some feet to get to that house. It's in a small neighborhood. We had to go back and forth to get it up to the right level. And she's just absolutely thrilled to be able to get into her house. Forgot all about the leg.
Right. Because you were providing home.
Home.
Yeah. The
And that's
safety
what we
and
do.
security. Yes.
You know, our budget's very low. We only have 4 paid staff, and 3 of us are part-time. If every adult in Stark County gave us $1 a year, that would cover our budget every year.
Okay. That was my very next question.
If every adult gave us $1 a year, we would be able to operate with no problem.
All right. Well, Valentine's Day is just passed. Let's do a little belated Valentine for Hammer and Nails. Everybody, pony up $1.
Yeah, you know, you think that'd be easy.
It sounds pretty easy.
Yeah, because we don't take government money. We don't take United Way money. We depend on the generosity of churches and individuals in Stark County. And the reason we don't take funds from any of those groups, they start to dictate how they want you to spend the money.
Okay.
And we don't want those restrictions. We want to be able to use our own judgment. And sometimes it's outside of our parameters, but it's common sense. When you put everything on paper, every rule you want to make, and write them all out, and you have no flexibility, people get left behind. And we're not going to be that agency.
Some of them change their rules. Might be worth checking them every once in a while to see if things have changed. But in the meantime, do you have any fundraisers that you hold? Are there?
We have a great one coming up.
Okay, glad I
Yes.
asked.
I'm glad you asked, too. It's going to be at the Lincoln Theater in Massillon. It's called Geezers and Guitars. It's a battle of the old guy bands.
This is going to be great.
Yeah, there's 4 bands. Chris Winthrop's band, Chris McBurney's group, Random Guys. And a lot of people in Perry and Navarre area know him. Then there's Borrowed Time, which that group's leader is my brother Jim. And they got
He's
an
in
excellent
it?
band. He's in it.
Oh, we're going.
Yeah, Jimmy Boy's in it.
Oh, we're there. Okay.
He's got a great band, Borrowed Time. And then the Lincoln Street Blues Band is going to be performing.
Okay.
And it's at 7 o'clock
What
on
night?
the last day of February, which is Thursday the 28th. It's a fundraiser for us, and it's only $15 a ticket.
Okay.
4 bands. You can go to Eventbrite
And sign up there.
and get tickets there, or Bonnie's Engravers Gallery in downtown Massillon has tickets on sale, or our office you can get tickets. We're right next to Kennedy's Barbecue.
Look up Geezers and
Geezers
Guitars.
and Guitars.
Ray, have there ever been a more fun group of senior citizens than our group? I do not think so.
No,
No, never.
never.
So you want
Absolutely
to
not.
okay, Lincoln Theater on February 28th. Let's March comes in like a lion or a lamb, right? Okay.
Yeah, we
well,
want it
let's
to come in like a lion, so it goes
out like a lamb. Okay, well,
Yeah.
let's usher in March on February 28th at 7 o'clock, Lincoln Theater, Geezers and Guitars, $15 a head.
$15.
And it all goes to
Hammer and Nails. Yeah, $15 for a four-act concert.
And getting to hear some really good music.
Oh, they're good. They're all good. It's
gonna be
These
classic.
guys have been playing since high school, so they've been playing for like 40 years.
Too fun.
When they started for the sole purpose of attracting the young ladies, of course, but now they're so old they play to play.
Now they're really just good musicians.
Yes.
Yes. They achieved all of that.
Yes.
Nice family men.
They're all married. They all got their
Raised
kids.
their families, and so you're just going to hear
So
good
now
music.
now
No
they play
ulterior
for-
motives.
That's right. No ulterior motives.
All right. Volunteer opportunities, because what can we do to help you?
Well, we love to have volunteers. We love especially adult groups of volunteers. We do use youth groups for many tasks in the off. And whenever we paint a house, we try to do some landscaping around it, get the bushes away from the house, put some mulch and some flowers down. So we use youth groups a lot. But it's a lot of people call, say, hey, I'm available tomorrow, or I have a youth group that wants to do something Saturday. Well, no, we can't do it that way. We have to schedule well out ahead, and then you have to be flexible enough to deal with weather problems. If we schedule for a whole house paint job and it's raining that weekend, well, then we have to cancel. And that might not fit your goals as a youth group, but that's That's the reality.
Right.
The best thing to do is, if you want to get more information, is go to Hammer and Nails, all one word, all spelled out, .org.
Okay.
And
Hammer
there's all
and it's
nails.
spelled out
Yes.
A-N-D. Hammerandnails.org.
.org. And you can find, and we have a Facebook page,
Great. All
because
right.
everybody does.
Because you got to.
Yeah, I know. That's
you
right.
really have to. I just can't imagine for you personally how gratifying this is to be able to do this kind of work. Just talk about that a little bit.
It is, and I worked at the homeless shelter in Madison for years, and we had to do some fancy footwork to get a new shelter when we were evicted from our old shelter, and it was a joy. It was just a joy, and here's this thing. I was talking to a foundation the other day about helping us fund some wheelchair ramps. Says that's a lot of money for just a very few number of people, and I said, well, yeah, you could do a little for a lot of people, or you can do a lot for a little bit of people. And she asked me, why should we fund this? And I said, because nobody else will. And so when I can convince somebody that the change you make in a person's life by doing a wheelchair ramp is so dramatic, it's worth the money, those moments are like, for a fundraiser, those are like victory, going on. But I was with community services for a long time after the homeless shelter. I moved into pure fundraising. And I noticed something was missing, and what was missing was client contact, because it keeps you grounded. And like you said about this marriage that lasts 40 plus years, and you think, boy, I fuss about the little things. And it's the same thing. I go in these houses, and I think, I've been mad at myself for not finishing my my basement yet. I've been in the house for 10 years, and I go in these houses, they don't have functional plumbing, and they don't, and it's pretty humbling. That what I get upset about compared to what people live with. And it is, by and large, and I'll say 98.5% of our folks that we help are so grateful, it's incredible.
Yeah.
You're always going to get your complainers, and they don't get us down at all because they're such a minority.
Yeah.
But
well, let's repeat. If everybody in Stark County gave $1, you would hit your goal of being able to help everyone.
We'd be over the top, over the moon.
All right. Can we give online? Can we go to
Yes, you can go to the
Hammer Nails
website and give online. Yeah,
and if you
absolutely.
feel like giving more than $1, I'm sure they won't complain about that.
No, I don't think we would. I think we'd talk about it, but we wouldn't complain.
Well, Ray Fate, always a pleasure to have you here. Thanks so much for all you do. Give us one more time. What is the website? I know we can go to probably Stark County Hammer Nails or something like that, Hammer Nails on Facebook and find you.
Yeah.
What's your website
It's
again?
Hammer and Nails, all one word, all spelled out, .org. And ORG is a designation of a nonprofit.
Perfect. And don't forget, February 28th, 7 o'clock, Lincoln Theater, Geezers and Guitars. Ray Fate, thank you so much for all you do in our community.
Oh, you bet.